Happy upcoming New Year to everyone. In this video, we'll be reviewing the past and upcoming trading week from December 22nd to December 28th based on the neural network's forecasts. We'll be looking at a total of 4 instrument tickers. If you enjoy this segment, let us know in the comments which ticker you'd like us to analyze each week using the neural network's forecast. We'll add it to the list and break it down for you. And of course, please support us with a like and by hitting the notification bell. And of course, please support us with a like and by hitting the notification bell. Let's start with the first ticker. This week, our first ticker will be the euro dollar. To request a forecast and analysis from the neural network, you can either set up a subscription or request one in real time. So you just enter the ticker, the abbreviation AUSD, and select the time frame. First, you select the data center that will be used for the calculation, and then we'll choose the daily time frame. We use the daily chart because the neural network calculates the price movement model 10 candles ahead. So depending on the time frame you choose, the forecast will be for that many days or hours ahead. In other words, 10 candles. So for a daily chart, that's 10 days ahead. Of course, if it's a financial market, like in this example, then the 10-day period will also include Saturday and Sunday, which are non-trading days, and you'll need to account for that as well. So we've requested the forecast, and here it is. It's given us the calculation, the information for the future. Let's break it down now. The neural network forecasts the price movement model and naturally the trend as well. It's showing a neutral trend. This means, looking at the calculation, this particular movement isn't suitable for entering a position right from where we are now. We're at this level here, level 1.1769 to be precise. And the logic is that during the upcoming trading week with the New Year's and pre-New Year's rally, the price might even expand the formation, just as the neural network is showing us, and then enter a consolidation channel like this, which, well, generally seems very likely because next week we have news on GDP, for instance, from Great Britain and so on, which could affect the dollar index and, of course, the euro-dollar ratio. Plus, it's also plausible that this high we have here, the one formed with that doji, could be retested. They might go to check it and collect the stop losses that were moved to break even, and from there, begin a small corrective movement. Therefore, we're considering this position. So at this moment, for this week, right now, today, or at the beginning of Monday, it doesn't make sense to enter a short position, and it doesn't make sense to enter a long position from here either. So in your place, I would wait for either a retest of this level or a retest of, so we have this uptrend channel, and a request could be made right here. So either here or a request could be made here, just as it's shown here that the price might first drop to this point, and from there it will pull back upwards. So we see the price movement model is predicted to go up. So you could request a new forecast here, maybe on Monday or midweek, if we see this kind of formation. If that formation doesn't appear, then we wait for, let's say, a retest of this level up here. And from there, we request a new forecast from the neural network for calculation. And once we get a trade block, it will make sense to enter a position. Let's move on to the next instrument. Our next instrument is Bitcoin. We have a position in Bitcoin. We entered this position yesterday. And in fact, the trade is already playing out. But the logic is that you can set up signals. So what does that mean? Why did we even enter the trade yesterday, for example? It's very simple. So our first block was where you can request forecasts and calculations of the price movement model in real time, as well as clusters of technical analysis data and real-time data from data centers. Then in AI signals, you can set up a search for a setup. That is, the neural network constantly makes requests to itself and analyzes the chart and looks for the best setups based on the probability and risk ratio. Well, firstly, regarding trades, so that there are trades. So for example, we just made a request for the euro dollar, and the neural network told us that it's best not to enter a position right now because there is no clear direction for the future trend movement. But here, for example, there is a future clear direction of the trend movement. That is, we will have, in terms of this flat channel, an approach to the border of this flat channel, the neural network calculates for us. The order point, it recommends entering with a buy limit, that is not at the market price, but with a pending order at a cost of 88, well, conditionally, 88,000 for Bitcoin. And for take profit, it recommends taking it at 91,000, almost 92,000. So at the moment, we are already at 88,760, 740, and the take profit can, of course, be moved to almost 92. That is, 92 is somewhere around here. So we can consider this position, and I will move it to break even as soon as we, for example, reach a certain value here. I will move this trade to break even so as not to risk anything anymore. That is, according to risk management, the risk for the trade is 1.42% and the profit should be 4.5%. I entered with a slightly smaller amount, so the profit will not be 4.5%, but about 2%, because I reduced the risk, because we still have a downward channel globally if you look at it. That is, if you take the daily chart, we see that we have such a downward channel here roughly drawn, and we are continuing the movement. And either we have a breakout or a false breakout and continuation, or a breakout, consolidation and continuation upwards. Well, at the moment, that is at the moment what the neural network itself shows us and calculates for the price movement model, we will only approach the border, that is the border of this level, and there we will be testing. That is, it recommends reaching these borders, taking the profit, and then seeing what happens next. But this is specifically the neural network. The system sent a signal, so this signal is configured right here. You can subscribe to any instrument. So I have subscriptions for silver, for the New Zealand dollar, for the euro, for say Ethereum and so on. So right here you selected the probability of the model success, meaning how likely the model is to work out in the future. And the risk itself, the risk to reward ratio, and here you select the time frame. The higher the time frame, the greater the probability that this model will work out, and the stop loss and the take profit will be calculated more accurately. But daily models, they take longer to play out. They can take up to several weeks, that is even up to 2 weeks, roughly the execution can last. They can also play out in a single day, depending on the volatility, or of course the liquidity. So if you take low liquidity assets like cryptocurrencies that are in say the 200 plus tier, then of course there it's a question of liquidity, volatility, and I wouldn't even consider any positions there on an hourly chart and so on. And even then, if you were to consider it, well, the hourly, I mean, then the risk to reward ratio should be higher than 1 to 4 and plus, 1 to 4 plus. Then it makes sense. Well, this is specifically in reference to low liquidity assets. Let's move on. Our next instrument is Apple. By the way, all our forecasts from last week have completely played out. The only thing is Bitcoin, I assumed that we would actually exit this channel here, make a false breakout and go up. But so far, we haven't had a false, we've only just exited and are heading for a retest. So the retest is right around here, and either we'll bounce off it or we'll break through further and enter this channel, the channel, so to speak. But for now, we've only just exited it and are approaching the boundaries again. So that's the forecast. Now, for Apple, well, let's request a forecast now. So we go back to the AI forecasts and analytics section and type in the Apple ticker. Here it is. From NASDAQ, we select the daily chart and click calculate. Now the neural network will calculate the data clusters for us. Well, what do we see? Let's take a look at what we see on this daily chart for now. So what we have basically is this sort of small channel that has formed. Well, what do you mean small? A large channel, you could say, along the boundaries of this interesting candle. And so this kind of model has formed, a reversal model, you could say. In my understanding, I would consider that we could reach some of these boundaries, maybe a little higher, up to here, and from there, consider a sell. Why a sell? Well, because basically we are at highs, but not historical highs. And in this regard, I would still consider a position here. We can enter with the trend. We have a clear uptrend right now. And so here you can enter with the trend upwards, and from there look for a downward position somewhere. But that's on the condition that the neural network now calculates a price movement model for us that follows the trend, let's say upwards. Well, the neural network calculates the price movement model for us and clearly says that we should go for a close of this gap, and from there we can start looking. So here's the gap, and the neural network story and calculation show that we should go for a retest upwards right here, and from there look for a sell. So we have this upward impulse, and from there a sell will be considered. Well, that's what I'm talking about. My opinion coincided with it. And our risk is, well, small. We have 2.91, which is a bad risk. I generally recommend not considering anything below 3. Therefore, I recommend that next week, during the upcoming rally, we wait for a retest and see how the price behaves somewhere around here. If we consolidate, of course, there can be no talk of any sells. If we don't consolidate and reach an impulsive move up to here, then from there, we can look for some kind of sell. Also request a forecast for confirmation if the neural network already has one, and sell with a sell limit as it recommends. that is with a pending sell order somewhere around here, 284, say 400, enter a sell with a pending order and try to place the stop loss beyond these specific highs that have already formed. Add the spread and a couple of points to it so it doesn't get triggered for sure, and then you can consider a sell. Perhaps, if we're being conservative, we could look at an approach to this level somewhere around 288, 89, and look for a sell from there, placing the stop loss beyond the highs, that is above the high, and consider a sell from there. Our next instrument that we'll be looking at is gold. Gold looks very interesting right now. We've approached historical maximums if I'm just trading it now. And we're approaching the formed high from which we just bounced off. There was this small, well, larger, you could say, corrective movement. And after this corrective movement, we have this further, you could say, a flag like this has formed. And there could be a move where we break through and go to, say, 4,500 and higher. But that's on the condition that we break through here with an impulse. And if there's no impulse, meaning we just approach it slowly and start to slide down, then of course there's no talk of any impulsive upward movement and a breakout of these historical maximums for now. Therefore, for confirmation at the moment, what I see and what I believe and what the neural network is generally calculating for us is that we will approach these levels here, bounce off them a few times and still go down. So that's the movement model. We approached once, approached twice, and on the third or fourth time we started to fall. But while we're falling, we're not breaking out of any channel. We're falling in a flat movement, which is what the neural network is showing us. The price movement model is 71%. The risk ratio is 3.52. So I would recommend that next week you consider sell positions closer to this current level. That is from the close of this high that was formed last week. And look for sell positions above it. That is a sell somewhere around the level, say with a pending order at 4,388.89. A sell from there and, well, towards these values, somewhere around here to 4,200, 230. So right here where there's a cluster, so in the future at 4,200, that's where you take the profit. So with a pending order, you'd sell from the down, or rather from the high that formed last week and take profit at 4,200. So that's the kind of scenario to consider. And of course, set a stop loss, place the stop loss a little higher than these historical highs, somewhere around 4,450, 4,440, something like that, around those values. So the risk reward ratio is roughly 1 to 3. So that's the general idea. Also some good news. On December 28th, we'll be launching our website. And we've also launched and signed an agreement with an online cryptocurrency school, which has an educational license, and they've already prepared a course. It turns out they've already been trading quite a bit with our neural network, so we decided to do a sort of collaboration with them. So if anyone trades in the cryptocurrency market and would like to, learn, but you don't have the knowledge of how to use the neural network and additional tools and filters to trade well, you can sign up. They'll have a webinar on January 4th where they'll talk about the strategy and methods of trading with our neural network. In general, that's the news, and we're looking forward to the website launch. Happy upcoming New Year to everyone, and of course, I wish you profits and stay one step ahead of the market by using technology.